Hello Internet, I am the hero of Julios once again with another One Piece card game video. Considering how well last week's video went, it's gotten way more views than my later videos have done, so I decided I should probably talk a little more about how I am preparing for this upcoming card game. So this isn't going to be so much as a money saving tip, though I am frugal with my purchases and I do choose to make it as easy on my wallet as I can. I'm going to talk about how to store your cards, how to properly take care or organize, what to do about extras and things of that nature, because if you're going to buy a lot of booster packs, well, you're going to have a lot of extra cards. And even if you aren't, you're going to have a lot of cards that you're not using in your deck. So unless you plan on having a perfect 50 card One Piece deck that you are never going to change, and when you do change, you immediately sell or get rid of the cards you're no longer using, these are some tips to help you organize and store all of your cards that you will inevitably be buying. The first tip I'd like to give is actually the same one from my last video. Get yourself a store that has a rewards program that you like. The one I do gives 5 points for every dollar you spend, and then at 5,000 points you can get $100 off your purchase. There's also lesser tiers of points that you can get. You know, you spend like 1,000 points to get maybe $10 off of something, or X amount of points for 25% off. Obviously, the more points you save up, the better you save. That goes for most stores. But pick a rewards program that you like. Maybe you like having, a small amount of points and just constantly cashing it in. Or if you're like me, you like storing up to the maximum number of points to get the most bang for your buck. But whatever the reason, pick a store you like, pick a store that's easy to get to for you, and most importantly, pick a store you trust. You know? Make it a store that you like going to. Maybe they have some extracurriculars there, like they host the One Piece card game on Tuesday nights and you can actually play with other people. That way you kill two birds with one stone. You find a place to play and a place to buy your stuff. But let's get into my second tip, which is more of a warning than a tip. Initial storage is going to cost more than your continual storage. By this I mean, when it comes to your initial purchases, you're going to need something to store all of your decks. You're going to need something to store all of your cards. You're going to need something to store the stuff you are storing the cards in. You're going to need a candy bar bag carrying bag, for those of you who watch SpongeBob. But what I'm getting at is these initial purchases, while seeming a little bit bigger than the continual ones, are going to be worth it in the long run. But now that I've gotten that initial disclaimer out of the way, let's get into how I store my cards. I would like to start by saying that a brand I like is called GameGenic, and while this video is not sponsored, call me. What I like about GameGenic is their deck boxes come in multiple colors, and colors that match the Digimon card game. Fortunately for me, they'll also be matching the One Piece card game. I actually happen to be holding red and purple right here. So, if you plan on playing competitively, I would recommend getting one deck box for each color, just so that you have your 4 different colored decks. For those of you who are asking about dual colored decks, I would say just pick whichever color you like more. If you're running a red-green deck, pick a green box. If you like green, if you like red, pick a red box. And if you're trying to run 2 decks of the same color, it's actually really nice. GameGenic has these little white spots on top that you can name your deck, and you'll know which one it is. So if you're running, a Luffy Law deck, you can write Luffy Law on this one. But if you're running a Straw Hat Rush deck, you can write Straw Hat Rush. Unless you're trying to get super fancy about it, you can usually get a deck box for about $2. So if you're, just trying to store your cards safely, it's not too expensive. It's $8 for the 4 starting decks, so it's a good place to start. And while we're talking about things to protect your cards, I would recommend sleeving your deck. Now, granted, if you're used to card games, you're probably already used to buying card sleeves, but for those of you who this is your first card game, it helps when it comes to shuffling your cards, when it comes to handling your cards. Sometimes your opponent might get a little grabby. On that note, please never touch your opponent's cards without permission. It's rude. But card protectors, card sleeves, whatever you want to call them, are a great way of keeping your cards in a nice, healthy condition. An example I have actually right here on my desk. I've got this Shivamon card in a card sleeve right now, nice little pink back. But what's cool about card sleeves is if you want to go the extra mile, Bandai actually sells Digimon card sleeves. Bandai is also going to be selling One Piece card sleeves. And what's cool about that is they're actually selling the card sleeves in packs of 70. Now, as we know, the One Piece card game is going to be a 50 card deck with a 10 card Dawn deck and a single leader card. So let's say you get all 4 starter decks and you get all 4 of the matching card sleeves that Bandai's selling. Now, the MSRP on the Bandai card sleeves is $6.50 each, so it might be a little expensive. I will get to cheaper card sleeves in a moment, but if you are considering getting the fancy ones, they come in groups of 70, and what you can do with that is you can take 50, put it on your 50 card deck, you still have 20 left over, 10 of those can go to the Dawn cards of a different deck, and then one of those can go to a leader card of a different deck. That leaves you with 9 left over that you can put your super rares from your booster pulls into your nice protecting sleeves, or you can just have them for your favorite cards, or just have them to give out to other people. Regardless, you'll be able to mix and match 4 sets of sleeves with 4 different decks without breaking your bank on that note. You won't have to buy a whole new set of sleeves. This is just a way to be economically sound and having a remainder of 36. Yes, 36 sleeves. If you don't care about getting fancy sleeves, you can usually get a pack of 100 sleeves that are just regular sleeves for about $7, which is 30 more than the fancy sleeves. And if you want to go even further than that, places like Amazon or even, your local card shop will sell something that is colloquially known as penny sleeves. They're a little on the thinner side, and obviously they're completely see-through, but they will protect your cards from the most basic of damage, from being scratched against surfaces, from fingerprints. So even if you're on a super tight budget, you can get about 500 sleeves for the same price as you would pay for the super fancy ones. Heck, with that many penny sleeves, for only like $7, you could sleeve every single card you pull from a single booster box and still have sleeves left over. So now you have your main deck sleeved up and put into a box to protect it. You have all your extra cards in penny sleeves to keep them nice and safe. What are you going to store them all in? Cardboard. I know, cardboard protects cardboard. How novel. This is a company called BCW. Again, not sponsored, but it's just the one I use, so it's the one I recommend. What's nice about it is it's nice and white. You can just write on it. This is the extras from the latest booster pack of the Digimon card game, the EX2. This is where I store all of my extras. So when I say extras, in the Digimon card game, just like the One Piece card game, you're only going to be allowed 4 of a card in a deck. Therefore, for the most part, you're only ever going to need 4 cards. What do you do with all those extras? Well, you could give them away, you could sell them, or you could store them in case someone at your local group needs one. That's usually what I do with mine. So that box I was just holding was an 800 count holder. If you buy 2 booster boxes when the game comes out, you will still have room left over in that box. The math checks out. I'll put it right here below me just for proof, but you can store 2 boxes worth of cards in a single box like that. From there, it comes down to how you want to organize. If you just want all your cards in one nice spot, you have everything in that box and you don't have to worry about it again. Personally, I like to store a little more organized than that when it comes to my future deck building. So when the One Piece card game first started, I went the extra initial purchase and got this thing from BCW that holds 12 of that box I just showed you. The nice thing about this 12 box shelf is I can slide them out from underneath each other. I don't have to pick them up. And it allows me to store my cards by color. And then from inside of there, I divide my colors from the booster pack they come in. The reason I organize my cards by color is that is just the way that works best for me. When I'm making a red deck, I like to know that I only need to open my red box. And in the event that I am making a dual colored deck, I only need to open 2 boxes. Rather than having a box for every single booster pack that comes out, and trying to look through and sift through every single box I have. That's what the extras are for. If you decide to go this route, you're in luck. Right now, the One Piece card game only comes in 4 colors. However, if that color wheel at the bottom of the cards are anything to be believed, there is going to be 2 more colors probably in the very next booster pack. So if you're looking to plan super far ahead, I'd recommend buying 6 boxes to store all your colors in, and then 1 final box to store your extras in. Hypothetically, the One Piece card game does have a 7th color. It is white, but white doesn't really make its own deck. It's just a lot of supporting cards that go into decks to do various things. The One Piece card game might have something like that, but given how the leader card dictates the color of your deck, I kind of doubt that. But again, that's just a prediction because we only have 1 booster pack to go off of right now. Inside of those boxes, you can organize your cards even further using a divider. Again, I use Gamegenic, not sponsored, but I like Gamegenic because they come in 10 different colors and it's only $2 for a box of 10 dividers. I use the black one to divide my black cards, the red one divides my red cards. So it looks really nice. It ends up with this nice little sleek design where all the colors match the Digimon cards they're dividing, and it keeps them organized within the colored box by the booster pack they came in. So if I need something from BT3, the 3rd booster pack, I only have to look in the 3rd section of my red box to find that card. I don't have to go sifting through the entire box to find it. A final clarification, when I talk about my extras, I only talk about my commons and uncommons. You are going to get so many of those if you open boxes that you're not really going to know what to do with them. Some people turn them into art, some people give them away, but occasionally you'll find yourself with more rares than you need. You know, you can only have 4 rares, but maybe you find yourself with 6 copies of a rare card. That's where I like to have what I call the trade box. The trade box is exactly what it sounds like. It is a box that I keep all the cards I want to trade in. You can do this in the form of a binder. I'll get to binders in a moment. But I like a trade box because it's just easier to pop it open or hand it to someone so that they can just quickly sift through all the cards they want, hand it back to you if there's nothing they want, or keep the cards if there's something there is. It ends up getting a lot less organized than all my other boxes, but that's just because so many other people are touching it. I mentioned binders, and I mentioned that I am a collector of Digimon cards, so I figured I'd show you guys this $20 binder I bought at a Walmart that comes with like 6,000 pages or something that I can just use to fill it out. But this is how I store single copies of every Digimon card I own. I like to display the alternate arts if I have them, and if I don't, I just display the regular ones. But this is a single set of every card that I have managed to get my hands on. For the most part, it's pretty full, but I got a few empty spots. I'm a collector before a player. I should probably make that clear. I'm terrible at the One Piece card game. My brother and I have proxies that we've been playing with, and I am just not good. I'm just not good at this game. I'm okay at the Digimon card game, but I'll probably talk more about the One Piece card game, like how to play it, once I finally understand how to play it. But if you don't want to lug around something that's super heavy, you can always get your hands on a smaller binder. These little binders usually have enough pages to hold 1 of each card from a booster pack if you are a collector. If you're a competitor though, you know, someone who likes to trade, they're nice because they have 4 sleeves, so you can have a playset here to help organize maybe cards you find yourself switching out of more often in the card game. And if you'd rather, you know, use a binder instead of a trade box, this makes a great trade binder. You can even mark on it the word, you know, trade, so that you know that this is the one where these are the cards you're okay with parting with. Maybe you have a different binder that you just use to just show off your cards to your friends. So to prepare for the One Piece card game, I got one of these so that I have a binder to keep all of my cards in for collection reasons. I'm going to see which way I like better, if I like having one big master binder like I do the Digimon card game, or if I like having one binder per booster pack for the One Piece card game. I'll let you know what my findings are after that. My next tip is do the math. Math is very important, both playing a card game and collecting a card game. For example, when the second booster pack comes out, you should ask yourself, hey, given how many cards I bought with the first booster pack, is my current storage going to be able to hold all of the second booster pack's cards? If your answer to that question is yes, don't buy a new storage box. Simple as that. You already have enough room, why waste the extra money? Just store all your cards where you're storing the first booster pack. If you're going by color, it's as simple as that, because trust me, there will not be enough of a full play set of all the red cards to fill an 800 count box. There won't even be enough to fill a 300 count box. Save your money where you can. It may involve you doing a little bit more math, but it's important to help you save money. It's important to store your cards safely without breaking your bank. For most of you, this is a hobby. I assume most of you, if you're running a card shop, you should not be watching me. I'm just a guy on the internet who likes cards. I don't actually know anything about economics. These are just tips from a guy. So if you're running a business, please stop watching. If you're not running a business, please keep watching. But it's important to think about how many cards you have currently stored, what you're doing with the cards that you're storing, if you're going to do anything with the cards that you're storing. Maybe find a nice shelf or a good, well-stored room in your house, something that is probably temperature controlled or at least stays non-humid throughout most of the day. I won't lie, card games can be expensive, and storing them can be expensive as well. But if you do, the right amount of math, you might be able to find out ways to cut corners, just like I have. So it's time to take all these tips and put them together into basically how does the hero of Julios buy and store his cards. When I first started the Digimon card game, I bought an 800 count box. That was enough to hold every single card I owned. From there, I bought a deck box for every single starter deck that I bought. At the time, I only bought one of each starter deck. I wasn't planning on being competitive, I was planning on just being a collector. Which I ended up being a collector with a minor in competitiveness because I actually found a locals to play at. So I would say I'm more collector than competitor, but I am casually competitive. Once I had my two starter decks, I bought two Digimon card sleeves. I took most of the sleeves from those packs and used them to sleeve my decks. Then, in the Digimon card game, we have these things called Digi-Eggs, which are a separate deck from your main deck. I would use the sleeves from one deck as the Digi-Egg sleeves for the other deck, because the two card backs have to be different. So, as a result, I only had to pay for two colors of sleeves for two different decks. About a month after I started playing the game, I bought 6 more boxes, and I used those to store my individual colors, using the last box to store my white cards, my rare cards, and my trade cards. As of the making of this video right now, I have a current system every time a new booster pack comes out. Regardless of how many boxes I buy, I always buy along with them one box to store my extras, 2 sets of dividers, one to add the new cards into all the different colors, and one to divide the new extras that I'll be getting. If I have enough dividers left over from the last time I did this, however, I only buy one set of dividers for the new extra box. Finally, if I am out of sleeves, I buy a 100 count of just generic sleeves. I could buy penny sleeves, but I have been blessed with the ability to buy nicer sleeves and hold them in for my super rares and my secret rares. I don't sleeve my commons, my uncommons, or my rares, so I actually have an extreme surplus. I think I still have about 75 sleeves from the last time I bought 100 sleeves, so it's going to be a long time before I find myself buying new sleeves. That being said, in addition to how much my cards cost, it costs me anywhere between $5 to $14 extra to store all the cards that I've bought. So it doesn't seem like that much, but per booster pack, after the 10th booster, that's $140. So storing can be inexpensive, but it does add up after a while. As always, do the math yourself, see what works for you. If you only want to store all your cards in a single box, it's like $3 to hold 800 cards. In fact, I'm pretty sure it's like there's this even like huger box. I don't have one to show, but there's an even huger box that holds like a couple thousand cards, and I think it's maybe $8. So I would get one of those if you got the space for it. Storing cards is the boring but important part of being in a trading card game. So I hope these tips helped you in any little way. If you have a tip or a recommendation of your own, I would love if you left it in the comments, because I myself am always looking for ways to improve how I store my cards. And as always, thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video. This is the Hero of Julios, Xing out.